Because if you don't test, then you're just guessing, and that's not how we work around here.
M1500s are great, but they absolutely have their issues. I'm going to show you a common one right now.
This 1500, it has a four-wheel drive problem. The four-wheel drive does not actuate. So first we're going to start off by scanning it, seeing whatever codes are inside of the system, and then I'm going to get it on this hoist behind me, lift it up, and just do a visual inspection. So let's get into it. Huge problem I came across, and a problem that I think a lot of other people is going to come across, is that if you were working on this type of a Dodge Ram, it's not a mechanical lever to actually turn your four-wheel drive on, it's an electrical lever. And once you have this code in your system, the PCM puts it in safety mode, so you can no longer actuate your four-wheel drive to turn it on, turn it off. So when you want to check your 12-volt power to see if you actually have good power down there from your battery, you can't, because there's no way to actuate it without a bidirectional scanner that can get inside of that system. I don't have one, I only have a code reader, so I'm going to show you what I did to kind of bypass that.
All right, so first we're going to start by hooking this battery up so that we can get power to this vehicle. So the code we got is telling me that it's going to be something up in this transfer case. This code generally points to either the transfer case motor, like the four-wheel drive switch to two-wheel drive motor is bad, or the electronics to it are bad, and that is like up on the back side of that. So we're gonna get there with some flashlights, get in there with a mirror, see if I can't get you guys a good view, and see what we're looking at. I don't care how many cars I lift, I'll always do the bounce for good measure. That ain't going anywhere. All right, so here's what we are looking at right here, the transfer case position actuator. So this is the actuator, up here is the sensor for the actuator telling it, like, if you're in four-wheel drive or in two-wheel drive. Sometimes due to the position of where these wires are, like in relation to everything else on the vehicle, there's a lot going on up there, so you can get like wires corroded, wires that are rubbing, chewed through wires. So it's important to look at all your connectors and look through them harnesses and just make sure. But these actuators are pretty known to go bad, but also these harnesses are pretty known to go bad. So it's not a good idea to just replace one without testing it first. Because if you don't test, then you're just guessing, and that's not how we work around here.
All right, so first things first, when diagnosing an electrical circuit, we got our visual inspection out of the way. Everything seems to look mostly okay. So we're going to start by checking power and ground, make sure we have our 12-volt power, 12-volt ground, 12-volt or 5-volt power, 5-volt ground. So if we don't have any of those, it's going to give us a very easy and clear direction of where to head. A problem we might run into, or I might run into in this, is that I don't have a scan tool with the ability to command the four-wheel drive on. So if this system works on having to be commanded on to be given 12-volt power, I might not have that, and I might have to operate under the assumption that 12-volt power is good, or figure out a way to prove 12-volt power without being able to command my four-wheel drive on. Anyway, let me hook up my power probe and let's check our voltages.
All right, let's check our circuits. So I like to use a back probe tool. It's a lot skinnier. It doesn't cause nearly as much damage. Same with my power probe. It shows voltage and also has the ability to deliver power or voltage. On a 5-volt circuit, you really shouldn't deliver voltage. You can mess something up, but it's nice to have if you need it, depending on the circuit you're working on. Plus, it just shows you voltage, nice and easy. Anyway, let's get into it. So you're going to want to have key on for this. Otherwise, this system won't have power. There's my 5-volt ground. There's my 5-volt power. 4.96, pretty perfect. And this should be mode A. All right, so then this is where you'll run into your problem. I don't have 12-volt power, but it's also not in four-wheel drive. So I would imagine if I put it in four-wheel drive or had the ability to command it on, I would have 12-volt power here. But I'm gonna have to prove that. All right, so we verified power and ground on our 5-volt system. We know that is good, so we know that our signal is pretty much all good. I'm gonna double check and make sure that I have power on all of pretty much everything else going to where the transfer case position module goes, but since I have no other codes, I'm going to assume that I do, and I'm going to assume that my 12-volt power is good. So next step, I'm going to check the resistances, but I want to check resistance with it plugged into the transfer case position module, or yeah, position actuator, and without it plugged in, because there's an internal sensor on that actuator that is also really known to go bad.
Unfortunately, I got carried away when I did this repair and I didn't actually get very good content of me physically diagnosing this actuator. So I'm going to recreate it, do exactly what I did, and walk you through step by step my thought process and what I actually did. So first things first, I want to check resistance, and I want to do it two ways. So I want to check resistance of my 5-volt circuit, but I want to check resistance of that 5-volt circuit with my actuator plugged in and with it not plugged in. And what this is going to do is this is going to tell me if my sensor internal of that actuator is bad or if it is not bad. And those things go bad a lot. They're very common to go bad, so it's a really good first check for me because I have an assumption that that is going to be the problem. On this model of truck, the actuator switch for turning your 4-wheel drive on is electronic. It's not mechanical. So when the PCM has this code, it reads that there's a problem, it puts it into safety mode, and you can no longer actuate your 4-wheel drive on or off. So when you go to check 12-volt power, you're going to have no 12-volt power. You might have a 12-volt ground, and you should have a 12-volt ground. If you don't, you're going to have a problem. So fix the 12-volt ground. But there's going to be no way to get 12-volt power to your system until you can either A, get that code to clear, B, command it on with a scanner, or C, fix the issue. Those are the really only three ways. So a way to circumvent that and get around that is to find the issue besides that. So like if the issue is it's not getting 12-volt power, then you have to find that issue that it's not getting 12-volt power. But for the most case, and most likely, it's not that problem. So you have to clear all the other problems that it could be: your 5-volt supply, your 5-volt mode, your 5-volt ground, your 12-volt ground, your PCM, your TIPM, your actual actuator itself. And if you clear all those and it's still, like, you still haven't found an issue, then it's obviously in your 12-volt power. So that's kind of what I did, and that was my thought process, is I'm going to see if I can figure out exactly what the issue is without ever having to get 12-volt power. Thankfully, I did. So let's get into it, and I'm going to show you exactly what I did, and it was honestly pretty easy. So up here, there's another connector for it that is up top before it feeds right into the TIPO. So first, I'm going to test resistance on this first 5-volt circuit. This is 5-volt mode A right here. Oh, I could show it. That is the purple and yellow wire, but anyway, that's mode A, so that's controlling if you're in 4-wheel drive high, low, or 2-wheel drive mode. But anyway, I've got the other pin of this multimeter down on the connector in the same spot, so you just want to complete the circuit to check resistance. This will put a little bit of voltage down there, and it'll see how much resistance there is on the way back. So let's see what we get. I've got a 30-foot test lead on too, so a little bit higher resistance is normal, but 0.5 is good for the size of this wire. It's just a 20 mil. So I know that part of the circuit is good up until this point. In the rest of the circuit, I can actually just see the entire wire loom all the way to the TIPM, so I know that it's good as well. I'm going to back probe the next wire. I'm going to back probe the actual 5-volt supply, so it's the 5-volt reference. It is the yellow wire, so I'm going to find that one really quick. Put this pin in there, go back up top, put the other pin in the same spot in the other connector, and then do the same thing, look for resistance. So let's see what we get. All right, we moved this one, and it is pretty much the same thing on this circuit. We got 0.5 ohms of resistance, which is pretty much perfect, exactly what we would want. So now that I'm testing resistance and all of my numbers are good, if you are following along this repair and you're trying to do it yourself, and you're trying to get to see if the sensor's bad, this is where you're going to want to leave it plugged in, test your resistance, see if it's open, see if it's high, and then unplug it and see if it changes, because that's going to tell you if your sensor is bad or not. Unfortunately, my old module is in the scrapyard and my new module is already on the truck, so I can't show you. So what actually was the problem with this beast? Why wasn't the 4-wheel drive working? Why was the service 4-wheel drive light on? So the problem is that this vehicle sat for a while, got into an accident, and then it sat again. My grandfather went to start it up in the wintertime, went to turn it into 4-wheel drive, and as soon as he flipped the switch, he actually blew the sensor that is inside the transfer case position actuator. So once he turned that switch on, it gave it the 12-volt power that it needs to actuate, and normally it doesn't have that 12 volt power. And because there was a short in the system and that ground strap was broken, it fried it because it was already weak and it had a short to ground, so it just fried that module, fried that sensor inside of it. So even when I bench tested the module, the motor was working fine, but the internal sensor wasn't. So now that that's replaced and we got it all plugged in, powers and grounds are fine, we fixed our ground strap. Now there's no shorts at all. It starts up, changes in the mode just fine, and we are good to go. All right. And if you diagnosed everything correctly, when you put the new part in, plug it in, it should do this. Your service four-wheel drive light, no more. And if you look over here at the corner, when you try to shift it, four-wheel drive low. The check engine light, by the way. Come on. I guess it wanted to be in neutral. Four-wheel drive. Anyway, the check engine light is just because I have the intake off right now, but all right. That is a repair well done. Now we got to go back through all these wiring harnesses, put some heat tape, well, electrical tape, some heat tape, and then I like to do a little sheathing just so that there can be no more shorts in the future. And this truck also still has parasitic draw from an accident that I got in with the taillights, so I'm going to take care of that. And yeah, send this customer. It's actually for my grandpa, but he will get his truck back and have his four-wheel drive working. So if you guys watched it this far, please hit like, subscribe. It helps the channel a ton and helps me put out more videos like this for you guys. So thank you so much for watching, and let me know if there's anything in the comments that I missed or that you wanted me to touch on. I'm working on getting better at these tutorial videos and these DIY videos, but I get a lot of comments sometimes that I miss stuff, and I miss a lot of stuff, and that's my problem. When I get in the zone going on work, I just get going and I forget to film. So if I missed anything, please let me know and I will try to remedy that. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.